you can see here a very clear story being told with the diagrams of a green heart being addressed by low-level retail, high-level residential, and facing out towards a view. And then what I've done is drawn some very bright movement paths and some elements that read somewhere in between diagrammatic and design. So these actually have base height. They are within the park, but they actually just look like diagram elements. So in this video, I'll show you how to make these kind of elements that you can use to really enhance your designs and captivate people's imaginations, which is a big part of the job of the architect. Hey guys, in this video, I am going to make another graphic widget. So the one I've got here is pretty cool. It takes this arrow that I made, which is made by offsetting points on a line by various proportions, and so you get this nice sort of fine-grained control over the arrow shape. And if we open the flow, you'll see what it looks like. It's just this, which are offsets. So you can see here, you get the frame and you grab the Y, which is the offset. And then you basically move things, you multiply that vector and move it one way, and then you multiply the vector by -1, so it's the reverse, and that moves it, the point the other way. And the point you're moving is the origin of that frame. So it's pretty fun. Now what I want to do is take this to the next level, where if I have a line and I get some points on that line, I get arrows that shoot sideways like this. And this is the kind of graphic that, can talk to flow around a stadium or around a shop, like a porous interface. And I've got one over here, which is using stroke dash. So I'm dashing this line, grabbing the strokes, rotating them 90 degrees, and then calling this thick arrow function, which is this function over here, thick arrow. The problem with this is because I'm rotating the strokes, and I'll show you sort of what I mean. I think I can put this here. Yeah, so those strokes are being rotated. Then the arrows are too far apart, which is not what's intended. So what I'm going to do is, although that's still bad, as they get longer, they get further apart. I guess it's actually quite nice. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a line more, what would we call it, more explicitly. So let's grab this one, noise lines, and I'm going to duplicate this and go to noise lines, copy. I just don't want to give it the same name as this. This I've called side arrows. So I'll call noise lines copy. I'll call that dense side arrows. Okay. And the reason I'm grabbing this noise line is because I'm already offsetting the points here. So these zigzags are actually made by grabbing these points and offsetting them. So that logic is already there. So better copy the logic rather than starting again. And it's this wiggles parameter that does that, and it translates those points out. And it actually it's doing some -1, so it translates 1 point that way, then 1 point that way. So there's actually 2 points per, there's 2 directions. So what I'm going to do is delete all of this logic so they all go the same way. And for us to see an output, we actually need to invoke this on a geometry. So I'll grab it and I'll get, what do I call it? Side arrow, down side arrows. Okay, so there we go. We can see our lines are now just coming out without zigzags because all the lines are the same way. And what I'm going to do is create a line, and I'm going to create that line from this feature and this feature over here, and put that over here. And I am going to delete all of this stuff because it's unnecessary for the minute. There we go. Okay, so you can see now what's happening is instead of rotating, I'm literally grabbing these points, I'm shooting them out by a factor, and then I'm creating a line. So I take this point, I move it, and then I create a line. Let's just hoist these parameters so that the user can deal with them. So we've got this wiggles. I'm going to call this to number of arrows. And then we are going to grab this, and we are going to get arrow. So we've got one of these arrow length. Delete this, and the default can be, let's say 20. Well, actually, let's say 14. All right, now we have these lines, and now all we have to do is we just need to invoke on each line our arrow function, which is this arrow function over here. So to do that, what we do is we say evaluate flow. We need to get the flow's name. Gets flow ID. So we're going to choose the thick arrow. I think I've called it thick arrow, and it's going to go in there. And the arguments here, there's a bit of a trick here, which is a bit annoying, is we need to pass the arguments into this flow. So we can pass all the parameters, but we need to pass in a feature. So we have to create a key value pair. And the key is feature, and the value is the value, and we do that, and then we do that. Oh, and we get nothing. We get nothing. Let's just inspect. Oh, so what's over here, what's coming out here on this line is a Cartesian, and flows only take GeoJSON. So we have to unproject it. We have to unproject it back to GeoJSON. And we can't do that. We've got to unproject the Cartesian. There we go. Apologies, that took way too long. So let me just run over that again. What we're doing is we're taking the Cartesian, this F is a Cartesian, that we then convert to a feature, and then we construct the key value pair. If you try and unproject the key value pair, that's the wrong structure, that's the wrong JSON, so nothing happens. So now we've got this, and we should have the ability now to edit the top level properties, and those are all going to flow through the entire thing. So we have this really nice side arrow. Now, it should be quite robust to this. It is. And this is quite kind of useful widget. But more useful is the fact that I'm sort of 8 minutes in, and because I've been going on this project, creating widgets, I've got a bunch of existing widgets that I can then use to make more widgets. And so you get this composability of widgets, which is very, very powerful, because it means that once you start doing something, it sort of snowballs. So hopefully that was useful.